What's happening, YouTube? Happy Monday, and I hope your week is off to a fantastic start. Welcome to Monday in the Millions, where we talk about the most influential people and topics that are changing our lives at this very moment. My name, of course, is Keith McElwain, and I have 3 talking points today that have just completely blown my mind wide open. I mean, smithereens everywhere. Alright, so here's the breakdown. If you want to move ahead real quick, you can just give one of these annotations a clickety-click and we can get rocking and rolling. So first up today, we're going to look at a musician from South Korea that goes by the name of Psy. Now, if you haven't heard about him already, I'm sure you're going to be hearing about him very, very soon. He is #1 on the YouTube charts right now with a video of over 180 million views. What does that mean as far as dollars? What does that mean as far as influence? So on YouTube, you can get paid as a partner between $2 and $5 per every 1,000 views. Now this is obviously a random variable that'll change depending on the advertisers that you have and the people that are clicking on the ads. But if we just go with the numbers of $2 or $5 per every 1,000 views, it gives us a good estimate. So for 180 million views, we're looking at 180,000 thousands, which is anywhere between $360,000 and $800,000 in Google ads that were displayed on that video, which is amazing. And now we actually look into the description, we can see that the #1 link underneath in the description, underneath the video, is linked directly to the iTunes store. So we take, again, 180 million views, we take 1%, and we take a look at $1.8 million, or 1.8 million downloads in iTunes. So the big takeaway here for not only citizens of the United States, but citizens of the world, is you no longer need to be an employee working for somebody else. As the unemployment rate starts to go higher and higher, we could start to see that we need to get creative and come up with different ways to make income and generate income ourselves. You look at Psy, you look at somebody like Jenna Marbles or Philip DeFranco or anybody else that makes videos on YouTube. They have taken the reins into their own hands, they've employed themselves and figured out a way to make money themselves. Which brings us to our next talking point. $16 trillion in debt for the United States. Barack Obama, Mitt Romney debating to try to figure out how we're going to fix the economy. If you break down the $16 trillion per capita per person in the United States, we owe $50,000 per person to the United States government. That is absolutely insane, alarming, and if you look at the average salary for people in the United States, it's $50,000. So if you talk about increasing taxes, decreasing taxes, this is not what's going to get us out of our problem here. But if you actually look at the details of where the money's going, where the money's been spent, we can start to take a look at the problem and how we're going to fix it. So $800 billion was put into the stimulus plan for the United States just a few years ago when Obama got into office. 10% of that was put into green initiatives, which I thought was amazing. I'm big into renewable energy. I'm big into getting passive income from the sun, from the waves, from geothermal, but we'll talk about that later. What we're looking at is the $100 billion that was spent on green initiatives and where it was spent. So what you hear all the time is $500 million was spent on SOLYNDRA. And SOLYNDRA is, if you haven't heard about it yet, it's a solar panel company that $500 million went into it, got invested, and basically they went broke. They went bankrupt, and at this point we're lucky to see if we get 17%. They're calling for 17% we might see back into the government, but really they're looking at seeing nothing back from this company. Now if you look at something like this and you look at, we spend a bunch of money on Fisker Automotives, we spend a bunch of money with Tesla Motors, electric cars, all these things, excellent initiatives to invest in. But if you look at them, the United States government is not an investment firm. And if we were, then every dollar that we invested into these companies, we would have to see some kind of return on our investment, right? We would have to make an investment and see some dividends. We would have to see, a loan repaid at some kind of percentage. So what we're looking at is we spent $100 billion and we didn't have any equity within any of these companies. They were given out in grants and secured loans that, as we see with SOLYNDRA, doesn't get paid back. So if we look at the United States government as right now becoming the biggest venture capitalist firm in the United States, but not having any equity within any of the places that we give money, then how is the United States government supposed to put money back in their pockets? That's the big thing, because it's cash flow. The government's right here in the middle, and we have money coming in from the taxpayers, and we have money coming in from the Federal Reserve, and then from there, we're looking to spend that on a number of initiatives. And from there, we're picking green initiatives where we need to be spending, we need to be investing. And we're looking at healthcare, we're looking at all these other things. But you have to look at how is the United States government going to see money back? If we spend $100 billion, what can we expect to see back from those $100 billion in a year, in 2 years? How can we start to see this money come back? So here's my answer. We look at a company like SOLYNDRA and we say, we gave you $500 million towards your business. Rather than saying, here's the money, go build your business and come back to us later, in which case, if you see the company, it can dwindle, disappear, no longer be in business. We should go to a business like that and say, we need $500 million in solar panels, in product. If you give us product, then the government can actually spend that money and see a return. If we had $500 million worth of solar panels right now, if we had it on public schools, if we had it on government buildings, if we had it on the post offices, if we had it on hospitals, now we would be getting passive income, a return on our investment from that $500 million investment into SOLYNDRA, or that $100 billion into the green initiatives. So I'm all in supporting green initiatives and green businesses, but when the United States government spends dollars, we have to see something for those dollars. So the takeaway here was we have to look at the United States government as a company, as a corporation, and we have to be Donald Trump or Richard Branson. We have to look at each dollar that comes into the United States government and each dollar that we spend. We have to make sure that we're getting some kind of dollar value back. If we invest in a solar panel company, I want solar panels on my roof. And then I want to be able to get that energy from the sun. If we invest in a wind turbine company, I want to have wind turbines in a wind field that's generating wind energy for the United States government. So you don't have to come back to me and ask me for taxes to spend money on something brand new. You're making this money yourself because you made a great investment. United States government is becoming an investment company and they should make good investments. And us as the citizens, we are the shareholders. We are responsible for making sure the CEO does the right thing. And now for our final talking point, we want to look at how we can live past 100 years old. But more specifically, what Mayor Bloomberg has done here in New York City to stop the spread of not only obesity, but cancer. Now, Bloomberg has passed a piece of legislation with the New York City Board of Health that prohibits the sale of sugary drinks or soda in excess of 16 ounces. So no longer can you go to McDonald's and purchase a large soda. Now the direct correlation that he's found here is that soda correlates directly to the rising rates of obesity. But what I see, even larger than that, and it hasn't really been talked about in the news yet, is that soda directly is correlated to the growing rates of cancer. Now there are many people looking at it in outrage. How can the government tell us what to eat or what to not eat? Now the other side of the equation where I'm outraged is, why are we still drinking soda? And the reason I say that is that cancer can only exist in an acidic environment. Now our bodies are naturally acidic. On a pH scale from 0 to 14, we want to be at a 7. That's neutral. Between 7 and 8, that's really where we want to be. But the air we breathe, the water we drink, and even when we work out, our bodies are creating acid. We have lactic acid stored in our muscles, so we have to stretch, we have to drink water, we have to massage our muscles to get the acid out of our body. Now the number one thing that people suggest to alkalize our body is drinking alkalized water. When you drink that water, it's about 7.9 in the pH scale, so that's supposed to bring you closer to the alkaline side. So now the question is, how acidic is beer? How acidic is soda? And so when you actually look at these numbers, it's pretty amazing. If you think, if the alkalized water is good for you and it's about 7.9 and we want to be at 7, then maybe soda might fall in 6.1 area. Well, if you actually look at the numbers, beer has an acidity of 4.0 on the pH scale and soda has an acidity of 1.5. If you pour soda on the front windshield or the hood of your car, the paint will peel off your car. So the more acidic your environment is, the more soda you drink, the easier it is for cancer to happen and occur inside your body. So the takeaway here is that Bloomberg's doing a great job. He's starting to move us in a way that we're starting to think about what we're ingesting into our body and starting to draw lines and say, you know what? This is healthy, this is what's not healthy, and let's start to become aware of what we're putting into our body, and let's start to limit the toxins so we don't have to spend so much money in the future on doctors and bills and anti-cancer treatments. Let's take care of it now, let's nip it in the bud, and let's make sure that we're ready to live way into our 90s like Jack LaLanne. And that's it for the talking points today. If you like this show, click the like below to let me know, and make sure to subscribe to catch the next episode of Monday in the Millions. I'll see you next week.